In this video, we are going to review what has been learned from Unit 2, Lesson 1 through 4. To complete this lesson review, you will need your iControl student workbook and something to write with. If you do not have what you need at this time, please pause the video and press play when you are ready to continue. If you do not need to view all of the lessons in this video, feel free to skip to the lessons you need to view using the start times provided. In Lesson 1, you will be learning about setting goals. A goal is like a target. It is something you aim for. For example, as a student, you might aim for a good grade on a test. People set goals for things they want to get better at or achieve. Your goals are closely related to your values. Your values are the ideas and beliefs you care about most. For example, if your value is good health, your goal might be to work out 3 times a week or not eat junk food. If you do not take time to think about your values, you might overlook them when you make choices or set goals. Here are 3 people who hold signs showing what they value most. Which goal do you think best matches their value? The first person values friendship. Should their goal be to talk about other people behind their backs, volunteer at the Humane Society, or be a good listener? The second person values health. Should their goal be to eat a large order of fries every day, work out at the gym 3 times per week, or get good grades? The third person values family. Should their goal be to eat at the dinner table with their family, eat healthy food, or ignore their mother when she is talking to them? The first person values friendship most, so her value-based goal is to be a good listener. The second person values health most, so his value-based goal is to work out at the gym 3 times per week. The last person values family most, so his value-based goal is to eat at the dinner table with his family. Just like the previous examples, you can set goals based on a single value, but you can also set a goal when you have several values. For instance, Carlita values belonging, friendship, and kindness. She thinks about how these work together and has set a goal to be kind so that others will do the same for her. By being kind, she is able to have friends and belong. All of her values actually work together. Thomas also set a goal based on his values of achievement and having nice things. He thought about how these work together and set a goal to get good grades so he can get a good job. When you identify values and think about your value-based goals, you often have to use shifting. This means you have to change your way of thinking about things. For example, let's say you've chosen family as a value and set a goal to spend more time with them. While you really want to eat dinner in the living room while watching TV, you should shift your thinking to say to yourself how it would be fun to share with your family members things that happen during the day. Now turn to Handout 1.1, which has a list of values. Please pause the video and circle the values that are most important to you. When you are done, press play. Next, you are going to think about what type of goals you might set for your own values. Look back at the values you circled and pick the one value that is most important to you. Pause the video and write your most important value at the top of Handout 1.2. When you are done, press play. Next, think about 3 things that you might say or do that show this value is important to you. For example, if you value family, you might 1. Show respect to your parents, 2. Help your grandmother with chores, and 3. Teach your sister how to dance. Pause the video and fill in the rest of Handout 1.2 with 3 things you might think, say, or do that shows the value you selected is important to you. When you are done, press play. It is important to know your values and stay true to what's important to you so you can make your own choices rather than going along with the choices of others. Throughout this goal-setting unit, you'll be working on your own personal goals. Find the goal worksheet in your workbook. You will be using this worksheet throughout Unit 2 to help you through the process of goal setting. First, write down the top value you chose under My Value. Next, pick one of the 3 options on Handout 1.2 that will be your goal for this unit and write it down under My Goal. This goal worksheet will lead you through the process of goal setting in this unit, so it needs to be available during each lesson. Pause the video to fill in the My Value and My Goal sections of the goal worksheet. When you are done, press play. Let's turn to the content questions for Unit 2, Lesson 1 in your iControl student workbook to check your understanding of this lesson. Pause the video while you answer the questions. When you are done, press play. For question 1, if you selected B, you are correct. Carlos values respect. having nice things, and wealth. So getting a job as a lawyer at one of the best law firms would be the best goal for him based on these values. For question 2, if you selected C, you are correct. Knowing what you value will help you plan your goals, make your own choices, and feel good about your accomplishments. In Lesson 2, you're going to learn resources and barriers in reaching your goals. A resource is something that helps you reach your goal, just like you need a pencil to do your homework. Some goals may be unreachable without resources. For example, some of your classmates may set a goal of having some close friends they can talk to and hang out with. Already having friends, having an awesome personality, and hanging out at the skate park are resources that may help them. A barrier is something that can make it difficult to reach your goal. Although barriers make it harder to reach a goal, many barriers can be overcome. For example, it may be hard to have close friends if you do not have the time to meet new people or have personal habits that annoy others. Please turn to handout 2.1. Devin's goal is to practice every day so he can make the basketball team. Your task is to figure out which are Devin's resources and which are his barriers. Draw a line to match them to the correct category. Please pause the video to complete the activity. When you are done, press play. Devin's resources are: there's a basketball court in my neighborhood. I really enjoy practicing. I have friends who want to practice with me. My parents encourage me to practice, and I'm on the basketball team. Devin's barriers are: I'm not in the habit of practicing every day. There's no time in the morning to practice before the bus arrives. My homework and chores after school leave me with little time, and sometimes I'm really tired. Now pause the video and think about the resources and barriers for the goal you set for yourself. Write them down on your goal worksheet. When you are done, press play. Let's turn to the content questions in your student workbook to check your understanding of Lesson 2. Pause the video while you answer the questions. When you're done, press play. For question 1, if you selected C, you're correct. Resources help you achieve your goal, while barriers make it difficult for you to achieve your goal. For question 2, if you selected C, you are correct. If you have a goal of making more friends, being part of a club with people interested in the same things would be an example of a resource. So far, you have learned how to identify personal goals, set goals based on those values, and assess your resources and barriers. In Lesson 3, you are going to learn about making your goals specific. Being specific about accomplishing your goal means describing it as something you can see or imagine. If you woke up tomorrow and had magically reached the goal you set for this unit, what would it look like? How would you know? What would be different? Describing your goal in this way helps you to reach it because it gives you a good, clear picture of how to accomplish it. For example, having a goal of wanting to be the best at basketball is not a clear or achievable goal. Instead, imagine what it would look like to work towards this goal. You might say, I want to practice every day so I am able to make 80% of my free throws. This would give you a good, clear picture of how to accomplish your goal. Now pause the video and go to your goal worksheet to review your goal to make sure that it's specific. Under the section marked What It Will Look Like, draw a picture or make notes about what your goal will look like when you achieve it. When you are done, press play. Now that you've made your goal more specific by imagining what it will be like to achieve it, let's look at what it means to be committed to your goal. Being committed to your goal means making a decision to stick with it, even when things get difficult. Turn to handout 3.1. Think about your specific goal and circle true or false for each of the statements. Pause the video while you complete this activity. When you are done, press play. To score your answers, count 1 point for each question that you circled true. Add up your points for your total score. When you are done, press play. A score of 5 is most committed. A score of 0 is least committed. The activity you just completed helped you to see how committed you are to your goal. The more committed you are, the more likely you are to reach your goal. The best way to see commitment is if you act on your goal and try to make it happen. Now let's turn to the content questions for Unit 2, Lesson 3 in your student workbook. Pause the video while you answer the questions. When you're done, press play. For question 1, if you selected C, you're correct. It is important to be specific when you set your goal because being specific helps you imagine how it would look and feel to achieve your goal. For question 2, if you selected A, you're correct. When you are committed to accomplishing your goal, you work hard to make it happen because it is important to you. In Lesson 4, we'll review the goal setting process. First, you learned about values and how they help you create goals. You also learned about resources and barriers related to reaching your goals. In one of the activities, you decided how committed you are to your goals. When you go through the goal setting process, you're using all three of the brain skills. For example, you use shifting to think about the things around you differently when you set goals and solve problems, and when you identify your resources and barriers. When you face one of your barriers, you may need to use working memory and impulse control to remember your values and then stick to your goal while avoiding the temptation to give up. Now let's turn to the content questions for Unit 2, Lesson 4 in your student workbook to check your understanding. Pause the video while you answer the questions. When you're done, press play. For question 1, if you selected C, you're correct. If you have the goal of being a writer, one of the barriers to reaching your goal would be using all your free time to play video games. For question 2, if you selected D, you're correct. If you really value having friendships, a goal based on your value would be to make a new friend in each class. Thank you for taking time to catch up with eye control today. In the following lessons, you'll continue to learn how to monitor your goals and identify when you have reached those goals.